My parents paid for my sister's destination wedding, down payment, and car, but told me I need to learn financial independence when I asked for help with medical bills, so I did this, and I woke up to 29 missed calls. Am I the idiot for demanding financial help from my parents when they've given my sister everything? Throwaway because my sister knows my main. This is going to be long, so buckle up, I guess. I'm a male, 29, teacher, and honestly, never thought I'd be posting here, but I'm at my breaking point and need some outside perspective. My whole life, my parents have treated me and my sister Vivian, female, 32, completely differently, and I've always just accepted it. But now it's literally affecting my health, and I don't know what to do anymore. So some background. I've always been the independent child, while my sister has been the golden child who gets everything handed to her. My parents have probably given her close to $500,000 over the years. Last year, they paid for her entire destination wedding in Hawaii, like $80. They gave her and her husband, Glenn, $150 for a house down payment 3 years ago, and they literally just bought her a brand new Lexus SUV a few months ago, just because she's been working so hard at her pharmaceutical sales job, where she already makes way more money than me, by the way. Meanwhile, I work through college, have student loans, and live in a crappy apartment because apparently I need to learn the value of hard work or whatever. And this isn't new. Growing up, they never missed a single one of Vivian's dance recitals or volleyball games, but somehow were too busy with work for like 90% of my band concerts or academic competitions. I remember winning this huge history competition in 10th grade, which is literally why I became a history teacher. And neither of them showed up because my dad had some work thing and my mom had to drive Vivian to the mall to buy clothes for homecoming. And when I got home, all excited about winning, they just said, "That's nice," and went back to asking Vivian about her dress shopping. So about 7 months ago, I got diagnosed with this autoimmune thing. I don't want to get too specific, but it's pretty serious. My insurance through the school district is fine, I guess, but it only covers like 60% of the treatments I need. I've already blown through my savings, and even with picking up extra tutoring on the side, I'm drowning in medical bills, like $18K worth and counting. I've been skipping doses of my medication to make them last longer, which my doctor says is dangerous, but what choice do I have? And eating ramen for basically every meal. I finally broke down and asked them for help at Sunday dinner at their house last month. I was so nervous. My hands were literally shaking when I brought out the stack of medical bills. I told them I needed help with my medical bills because insurance wouldn't cover everything and I was falling behind. My dad immediately frowned and said that was a lot of money. My mom asked if I explored all options with my insurance. I showed them the explanation of benefits. Then my dad told me I needed to learn financial independence and they couldn't bail me out every time I had a problem. My mom suggested this was a good opportunity for me to learn budgeting. When I mentioned how they paid for Vivian's wedding, house down payment, and car, my dad cut me off saying that was different because Vivian has a family to support. I got so angry, I left. I was humiliated and cried the whole way home. The final straw came last week when my mom posted on Facebook about the luxury Mediterranean cruise they just booked for this summer, their third vacation this year, while I'm literally skipping medication and eating ramen every night. And I don't resent my sister for getting help, but it's completely unfair that she gets everything handed to her while I can't even get help when my actual health is at stake. Okay, maybe I do resent her a little bit. I don't know. It's complicated. Then yesterday, my uncle Matt, Dad's brother who's been kind of estranged from the family for years, but we reconnected recently, called me out of nowhere and asked how I was doing with my trust fund situation. I was like, what trust fund? Because this is literally the first I've ever heard of any trust fund. He seemed really confused and said he needed to check some things and would call me back. After crying all night and realizing my health was literally at stake, I decided that if they wanted me to be financially independent, I'd show them exactly what that looks like. And what I discovered has changed everything. Edit. Some people are asking why I became a teacher if money is tight. I love my job and my students, and I don't think I should have to choose between a career I'm passionate about and being able to afford basic health care. The point is, my parents have money to help both of us, but choose to only help my sister. Edit 2. To answer everyone asking about my relationship with Vivian, we're cordial. We talk at family gatherings, but aren't super close. She knows I don't have as much money as her, but I don't think she realizes how much our parents have favored her financially because they've always done it behind the scenes. And no, I haven't told her about my medical issues because she'd just tell our parents anyway. Edit 3. For those asking about the trust fund thing, I literally just found out about this yesterday when my uncle called. I have no idea what it is or if it's even real. Uncle Matt is supposed to call me back today with more info. We'll update when I know more. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post. A lot. I'm still kind of processing everything, and honestly, don't even know where to begin. First, thank you to everyone who commented on my last post. I didn't expect it to blow up like that. I read every single comment, even if I couldn't respond to all of them. So remember how I mentioned at the end of my last post that my Uncle Matt called asking about my trust fund situation? Well, I met up with him for coffee the next day, and I honestly still can't believe what he told me. Apparently, my grandparents set up big trust funds for both me and Vivian when we were born. The trusts were specifically meant for education, healthcare, and first home purchases. We were both supposed to get full access to our trusts when we turned 25. I'm 29 now. I turned 25 4 years ago and never heard a single word about any trust fund. At first, I thought Matt was confused or maybe mixing me up with someone else in the family, but then he pulled out copies of the actual trust documents that he'd kept. He had everything. The original setup, the terms, everything. My grandpa had specifically written in his notes that he wanted to make sure both his grandkids could pursue education and maintain their health without financial worry. And my parents just kept it from me. I remember my grandparents always treated me and Vivian exactly the same growing up. They came to all my band concerts and academic competitions. They were always so proud of me. It actually makes sense now why they seemed confused sometimes when I talked about my student loans during college. They probably thought I was using my trust fund. Anyway, after talking with Matt, I was in shock. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking there had to be some explanation. Maybe the money was gone. Maybe there was some condition I didn't meet. I don't know. Something that would explain why my parents would hide this from me while I'm literally skipping medication and drowning in medical debt. So I contacted a lawyer the next day. I showed him all the documents Matt gave me, and his eyes got bigger and bigger as he read through everything. He asked if I'd ever received any notification about the trust when I turned 25, and I was like, dude, this is literally the first I'm hearing about any of this. The lawyer explained that my parents, as the trustees, have been seriously breaching their fiduciary duty. Apparently, they've been accessing these funds for years, using Vivian's portion for her education, wedding, house, and car, while keeping my portion hidden from me, like the $150 for Vivian's house, my trust fund, the $80 wedding, my trust fund, the new Lexus. You guessed it. The lawyer said I have full legal rights to this money and that what my parents did was not just morally wrong, but actually illegal. And get this, the family lawyer who helped them do this could actually lose his license for facilitating this, knowing it violated the terms of the trust. I was angry, then tried to think maybe they were planning to tell me eventually, then just felt awful. These are my parents, the people who are supposed to protect me, and all this time they've been stealing from me while watching me struggle. After talking with my lawyer, I decided to take 3 specific actions. 1. Formally filed for a complete financial accounting of the trust through legal channels. 2. Sent a detailed email to the entire extended family with documentation showing the unequal distribution and my parents' deception. 3. Filed a complaint with the State Bar Association against the family lawyer who helped them do this. The whole time I was doing this, I kept second-guessing myself. Was I overreacting? Was I destroying my family over money? But then I'd remember sitting at their dining room table, showing them my medical bills, begging for help while they lectured me about financial independence, all while they were hiding my own money from me, and I would get angry all over again. The reaction started coming in almost immediately. Uncle Matt has been amazing through all of this. He's fully supporting me and even offered to testify if this goes to court. 2 of my cousins called right away offering support and saying they'd always noticed the favoritism but didn't realize how bad it was. My parents sent me angry texts demanding I stop this nonsense immediately and threatening to cut me off completely. The irony, cut me off from what exactly? The nothing they already give me. Vivian called me crying, saying I was destroying the family, and that she had no idea the money for her house and wedding came from my trust fund. I don't know if I believe her, but whatever. The family lawyer sent a formal letter denying any wrongdoing, but offering to discuss a settlement, which basically confirms I'm right. I feel satisfied at finally standing up for myself after years of being treated like I don't matter. But I also feel guilty about potentially ruining my family relationships forever. But then again, what kind of relationship did we really have if it was built on them stealing from me? After sending the email to the family, I turned my phone off and went to stay with my friend Mark for the weekend. I just needed to clear my head and process everything. I finally turned my phone back on Monday morning and 29 missed calls. 11 from my mom, 8 from my dad, 6 from Vivian, 2 from Glenn, Vivian's husband, 1 from the family lawyer, and 1 from my aunt, Matt's wife. What happened next was both vindicating and heartbreaking. Edit: some people are asking how much money was in the trust originally. I don't know the exact amount yet. That's part of what the formal accounting will reveal. But based on what my lawyer has pieced together so far, we're talking about several $100,000 that should have been available to me 4 years ago. Edit 2. To those asking if I'm sure Vivian didn't know about this, I honestly don't know. She claims she didn't, but she and my mom tell each other everything, so it's hard for me to believe she had no idea. But maybe she really thought the money was just coming from our parents' regular funds. I don't know. Edit 3. A lot of you are asking if I've told my parents about my autoimmune condition getting worse because I've been skipping medication. Yes, they knew. I specifically told them when I showed them my medical bills that I had been skipping doses to make them last longer, and my doctor said it was dangerous. My mom just suggested I shop around for a better price on my medication, as if I hadn't already tried that. Edit 4. Thanks for all the supportive comments. This is honestly one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. I keep swinging between feeling justified and feeling like the worst son in the world for taking legal action against my own parents. But then I remember they watched me suffer financially for years while sitting on money that was legally mine. I don't think I'm the asshole here, but it still feels awful. Now for the second update. Wow. I don't even know where to start with everything that's happened since my last update. First, thank you to everyone who commented with support and advice. I read literally everything, even though I couldn't respond to all of it. Honestly, reading your comments was the only thing keeping me sane through all this. So remember how I mentioned turning my phone off after sending that email to my entire family about the trust fund situation? Well, when I finally turned it back on Monday morning, after staying at my friend Mark's place for the weekend, I had 29 missed calls. Yep, 11 from my mom, 8 from my dad, 6 from Vivian, 2 from Glenn, Vivian's husband, 1 from the family lawyer, and 1 from my aunt, Matt's wife, plus like 40 plus texts and a bunch of emails. I literally just stared at my phone for like 10 minutes trying to process it all. I decided to listen to the voicemails in chronological order, and the progression was wild. My mom's first messages were her yelling at me to call her back and saying I was being childish and dramatic. My dad's first few were all threatening legal action against me, lol, and saying I was tearing the family apart. But by Sunday night, their tone had completely changed. My mom was crying in her last voicemail, saying she wanted to explain, and my dad was suddenly talking about working things out as a family. Like, now you want to talk as a family. After years of hiding my own money from me, after watching me struggle with medical bills and literally skipping medication that I need, the audacity is just, I can't even. Anyway, I didn't call any of them back right away. Instead, I met with my lawyer again to go over what they'd uncovered from the formal accounting of the trust. And guys, it's so much worse than I thought. My parents withdrew nearly $400,000 from my portion of the trust over the years. $400,000. Most of it went directly to Vivian's expenses. Her college tuition, while I took out loans, her wedding, her house down payment, her car. But get this, they also transferred about $120 to their own personal accounts. My lawyer says that's basically theft, since the trust was specifically for my benefit. While all this legal stuff was happening, I was cleaning out some old boxes in my apartment and found birthday cards from my grandparents from when I was a teenager. One of them said, "We're so proud of you, Daniel. Your future is secure, and we know you'll do great things." Another one mentioned being set up for success no matter what path you choose. I literally broke down crying reading them because now I understand what they were referring to. They thought they had secured my future with the trust fund. They never would have imagined my own parents would hide it from me. After a few days of back and forth with the lawyers, my parents finally requested a family meeting at their house to clear everything up. My lawyer advised against going alone, so I asked Uncle Matt to come with me for support. When we got there, Vivian and Glenn were already sitting in the living room. My mom tried to hug me, but I stepped back. I just couldn't. The whole room felt really awkward, and nobody knew what to say at first. My dad finally broke the silence by saying this was all just a misunderstanding, and they were planning to tell me about the trust eventually. I didn't say anything, just took out the trust accounting documents my lawyer had prepared and placed them on the coffee table. Uncle Matt pointed out that they'd had 4 years since I turned 25 to tell me about the trust. My mom started with a speech about how they only wanted what was best for me and were protecting me from myself. I finally lost it and asked directly why they thought I didn't deserve the same support as Vivian. Like, what made her so special and me so unworthy in their eyes? And then my mom just broke down. She admitted they always worried I wouldn't be successful on my own and wanted to motivate me by making me work for everything. She said watching me struggle would build character and make me appreciate things more. Meanwhile, Vivian was more delicate and needed extra support. I literally couldn't believe what I was hearing. Vivian started crying, saying she had no idea the money came from my trust fund. She thought it was all just from our parents. She kept saying she would have never accepted it if she knew, but I don't know if I believe that. Maybe. It's hard to tell at this point. My dad got defensive and started calling me vindictive and ungrateful for all they'd done for me. That's when Uncle Matt stepped in and asked if he was seriously expecting gratitude for stealing my money. My dad turned bright red and started yelling that he was planning to pay it back eventually. Then came the big reveal. My dad admitted he had used some of my trust money to cover business losses several years ago. He said he was going to pay it back, but then just never did. And then they kept taking more for Vivian's stuff, and it just snowballed from there. The craziest part, Glenn, Vivian's husband, actually took my side. He said the whole situation was obviously unfair and that they should make it right. I was honestly shocked because Glenn has always been super close with my parents. I finally told them my ultimatum. Either they repay everything they took from my trust fund with interest, or I'm taking this to court. And I also mentioned that my lawyer found evidence they hadn't properly reported the trust distributions on their taxes, which is like actual tax fraud. That's when my dad looked really scared, and I think they finally realized how serious this was. After a lot more crying and arguing and blaming, they finally agreed to repay the full amount. They had to liquidate some investments and take out a home equity loan, but within a week, all $400K plus interest was transferred to my account. The first thing I did was pay all my medical bills in full and set up an emergency fund specifically for future health needs. So where do things stand now? My relationship with my parents is damaged. I'm keeping very limited contact with them, and we've agreed not to discuss financial matters at all. Vivian initially sided with our parents, but has since reached out to apologize several times. She claims she truly didn't know where the money was coming from. We're talking again, but things are still weird. Uncle Matt has become a much bigger part of my life now. He's been incredible through all of this, and it's nice to have family who actually supports me. We have dinner every couple weeks, and he's introduced me to his cousins who I barely knew growing up. As for my health, I'm finally able to take my medication regularly as prescribed. My doctor says my condition is already showing improvement. It's amazing what proper healthcare can do when you can actually afford it. I still have mixed feelings about everything that happened. Sometimes I feel guilty for destroying my family, but then I remember that I didn't destroy anything. My parents did that when they decided to steal from me for years while watching me struggle. What kind of parents do that to their own kid? The whole thing has made me rethink this concept of financial independence that my parents always preached at me. True independence isn't about struggling alone. It's about having agency and being treated fairly. For the first time in my life, I actually have financial independence because I have control over my own money that was always meant to be mine. Thank you to everyone who encouraged me to stand up for myself. I don't think I would have had the courage to go through with all this without your support. Edit. Some people are asking if I've forgiven Vivian. It's complicated. I believe she probably didn't know the money came specifically from my trust fund, but she had to know something weird was going on when she got so much and I got nothing. We're talking again, but I'm keeping some emotional distance for now. Edit 2. A few comments mentioned that my parents might try to contest the trust in court. They actually can't. My lawyer confirmed that the trust was ironclad. My grandparents were very specific about the terms, and there's documentation showing my parents acknowledged and accepted those terms when they became trustees. Edit 3. To answer the person who asked about the family lawyer, yes, we filed a formal complaint with the State Bar Association. Apparently, he could lose his license for helping my parents violate the terms of the trust. I don't know what will happen with that yet, but my lawyer says it's serious. Edit 4. No, I'm not planning to give Vivian any money from the trust, as several people suggested. The trust was split 50-50 originally, and she's already received her full portion plus a significant amount of mine. I don't feel obligated to share any of what was recovered. And yes, she still has the house and the car and everything else they bought her with my money. But honestly, I don't even care about that anymore. I'm just focused on my health and moving forward. Edit 5. For those asking about my parents' explanation for giving Vivian so much more, my mom actually admitted during our confrontation that she always favored Vivian because I reminded her too much of herself, someone who struggled with health issues and had to work harder. She said it was painful to see me dealing with similar challenges, and she thought making me toughen up would help me survive better than she did. Pretty messed up psychology there.